hopefully you've had a chance to practice 1 and 2-step equations. These are multi-step equations, so if you haven't practiced the other ones enough yet, please make sure that you do, because this part is going to get very confusing if you haven't practiced 1 and 2-step equations. So make sure you've done the other practice questions before you get to this work. Multi-step equations are basically combining what we did with combining like terms, the work we did with distributive property, and then the work we're doing this week with 1 and 2-step equations. You'll notice here I have 2 terms that have x beside them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine the like terms. So these are like terms, I'm going to combine them. And these are like terms, I'm going to combine them. This is also a like term, but I'll get to that step in a minute. So 7x minus 9x gives me negative 2x minus 6 is equal to 21 minus 5 is 16. And now it looks like the previous set of questions with 2-step equations. So I have minus 6 on this side. I want to get rid of it. I'm trying to isolate x, so I'm going to do the opposite operation. Remember, we're doing reverse BEDMAS, so we're getting rid of the addition subtraction first, and then we're going to get rid of addition, multiplication and division. So minus 6, so the opposite of subtracting 6 is adding 6, so I'm going to add 6 to both sides. And these two, negative 6 plus 6 is 0, so I get rid of that, and I'm left with negative 2x is equal to 16 plus 6 is 22. Now to get rid of the negative 2 that's multiplying the x, the opposite of multiplying is divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 cancels out. And I'm left with x equals negative 11, because positive divided by negative is negative. Next example, I'm going to first add the like terms that are beside each other, and then I'll bring the like terms together. So 5x minus 8x is equal to x plus 8. 5x minus 8x, those are like terms, so I'm just going to combine them. And I get 5x minus 8x is negative 3x is equal to x plus 8. Notice I have x on one side and x on the other side. I can bring them together using the same strategies I did with the numbers. I want this x to go to the other side. I want them to come together. So that means I want this 8 on its own. So I'm going to subtract x, because that'll get rid of it on this side. That'll equal 0. And whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So negative 3x minus x, remember there's like a little 1 right here, gives us negative 4x. X minus x is 0, equals 8. Now I have x being multiplied by 4. Opposite of multiplying is dividing. So that means that x is equal 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. If I wanted to check using a left side, right side check, the left side of my original equation, so the left side of the equal sign, is 5x minus 8x. And the right side of my original equation is x plus 8. So I'm going to substitute the negative 2 into the x's here. So 5 times negative 2 minus 8 times negative 2. BEDMAS, I'm going to do multiplication first. Just going to zoom in a little bit there. So 5 times negative 2 is negative 10 minus, or maybe not, negative 8 times negative 2. Negative times negative is positive, 16. And negative 10 plus 16 gives me 6. On the right side, I'm going to substitute the negative 2 here. Negative 2 plus 8 is 6. So I got 6 for both of them. So that means my left side equals my right side. The equation is balanced. Next example. Here I have a couple different things going on, but again, we're doing reverse BEDMAS. So I want to get rid of the subtraction first. So I'm subtracting 6 on this side. So to get the h by itself and get rid of this minus 6, I'm going to add 6. I'm going to do the opposite operation, and whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. And I'm left with 9h over 2 is equal to 21 plus 6, so 27. Now, the h is being divided by 2 and multiplied by 9. You can really do it in either order. I like to get rid of this first, to get rid of the base and the fraction. So to get the opposite of dividing by 2 is multiplying by 2. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. And in this case, it's happening to the numerators. So 9, and the reason that I multiplied both sides by 2 is to get rid of the fraction. So 2 is in the numerator, 2 is in the denominator. So 2 divided by 2, they cancel out. And I'm left with 9h is equal to 27 times 2. H is being multiplied by 9, so the opposite of multiplying by 9 is dividing by 9. These cancel out, just like the 2's did. And I'm left with h equals 54 divided by 9 is 6. And that's my final answer. Next example, bear with me. I know this one is long, but there's many different types of questions, so I figure it was better to just go through different variations with you so that you know what to expect. Okay, over here, like I said, when we're doing multi-step equations, we will also include distributive property questions, which is what we did last week and we reviewed at the beginning of this week. So to simplify this and to find out what the x values are that would make this equation balanced, I'm first going to get rid of the brackets by doing the distributive property. So multiplying what's inside of the brackets by the number that's outside of the brackets. And remember, these are called binomials because they're two terms. They're being multiplied by the single number outside. So 4 times x gives me 4x. 4 times 2 gives me 8. 3 times 2x gives me 6x. And 3 times negative 4 gives me negative 12. Notice that there's a single equal sign and it's in the middle here. I'm not putting extra equal signs anywhere else. We can only have one equal sign for every line of math. So I want to isolate the variable. I want to get all the terms that have an x beside them on the left side and all the terms that don't on the right side. So I'm first going to get rid of this 8 over here. I want it to disappear from this side because I just want the variable on this side. So instead of adding 8, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. 8 minus 8 is 0, so I'm left with 4x is equal to 6x. Negative 12 minus 8 is negative 20. Now I want this 6x to disappear because I only want the x's to be on the left side. So I'm going to subtract 6x. And whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So 4x minus 6x gives me negative 2x is equal to the 6x cancels out, and I'm left with negative 20. Now my operation is multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division, which means that x is equal to negative 20 divided by negative 2 gives me positive 10. And that's my final answer. I could do a left side, right side check. Slightly limited by space here, but it would just mean this is my left side. I could put 10 here instead of the x. This is my right side, 10 here, and simplify. Let me know if you're having trouble with that. Final example. Again, I want to get rid of the brackets, so I'm going to do the distributive property to get rid of these brackets here. The 4x stays the same. Negative 3 times x gives me negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 2 gives me positive 6 equals 21. I notice that there's like terms right here, so I'm going to add them together. 4x minus 3x is 1x, and we really don't write the 1 in front. Plus 6 is equal to 21. I want the x isolated, so I want to get rid of this plus 6. So I'm going to bring it over to the other side. If a number is positive on one side, when you bring it over, it becomes negative. That's one way of thinking about it. Or you can think of it like I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. And I'm left with x is equal to 21 minus 6, which is 15. So that's my answer.